Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Burst Talk. This is a real um not a situation, but a topic that's been going around for years, as far as like being bullied for like an anime or whatnot, and folks is not taking accountability and also like blaming the person that actually like anime, or if they, didn't like say that they like anime, but damn, it was not the fact that they liked anime. It's because like they did something that made them roasted or whatever. And when I was in high school, that was not true. Like, but I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my friend, Mr. Demetrius, aka MisterDjay. And you can follow him on YouTube. I'll put his link to his channel below. Go check him out. He makes great content. And we recently did a video together about the passing of Jason David Frank. And I'll put the link to that video below. So um Demetrius, you can introduce yourself.
What up? What up? What up, everybody? It's Mr. DJ, aka Dimitri. Appreciate you for having me on. It's an interesting topic, a necessary topic that I for one want to give my perspective on, and it was interesting to hear yours. So that's what's up.
Okay, so let's get into it. So that TikTok video, I took like two TikTok videos, as you saw my video last week, or was it the previous week or whatever, and you left a comment, and that was like the tip of the iceberg. Like there were like many videos stitching that video, giving their testimony on that and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when I gave my take on it, I didn't want to be too long on it because I'll be on that video for days.
Right.
Yeah, and from my perspective on it, it wasn't it wasn't necessarily bullying per se. It was like, shunning you and like, branding you a lame or whatever. Um and it was the fact that everything that you did or everything that you pulled out that's had, any anime related, you know, everybody referred it
Mm-hmm.
as Pokemon or whatever. And I hated Pokemon for a very long time, to be honest, like
Really?
because of that. Yes. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything was Pokemon. And also with Dragon Ball Z, anything that's remotely that looks like Dragon Ball Z is Dragon Ball Z. But folks will go
Mm-hmm.
watch that folks will go watch that all day or whatever, but still clown you for going outside of Dragon Ball Z and watching Sailor Moon, Yu Yu Hakusho, Raid
Right.
Master,
Right.
whatnot. And then it's the memorabilia. The memorabilia, if you come to school with a notebook that has, Digimon on it, or, Dragon Ball Z on it, they talking about you all day. Or you bring in a
Yeah.
or you bring in a like a I remember back in summer school, my friend used to bring a magazine, and it was a pretty cool magazine of Dragon Ball Z. And I lived in a small town. Those magazines are hard to come by, and everybody was just, on us for no reason about, oh, y'all always watching Dragon Ball Z or talking about Dragon Ball Z, blah blah blah. And then it was Yukio. I didn't like Yukio at first until
Yeah.
so yeah, my friend, he bought the Yu-Gi-Oh cards to school, and you know it made me love the show and the card game. And then also, you know, trickled down to my brother, my little brother, and he started like Yu-Gi-Oh too. And we convinced our mom to go get the Yu-Gi-Oh cards from Kmart, uh, which it still existed back then. Well, I think Kmart does still exist in my hometown. But anyway, back then the starter decks were like $20 a piece. Now you can get them for like $9, $10 or whatever. So when she brought us that, it came up to like 40 something dollars. And we were excited, went outside and whatnot. And there was this like unknown woman that just walked up to us and was like, now why did you let your mama spend all that doggone money on that? I was like, and of course I was a child. I didn't say anything and just walked away. But, you know, it was strange for a woman to just walk up to two children and talk down to us about what we like or whatever, all because it costed $40. you know.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much after that, that was I think that was like pretty much like it with the whole with my take on the anime, being bullied for being bullied for liking anime and whatnot, because there was a lot of factors, all the factors that go into that. Like anything outside of like anime is like I remember one incident um with me and my brother, not me and my brother, but like we went to Radio Shack, and our dad bought us these Power Ranger walkie talkies. And at the time I was like 12 years old or whatnot, but it was a good, you know, it was a toy doubled as a walkie talkie, and it was
Right.
cool. And when we went to my grandma's house on his side, he there was our their neighbor. She usually comes over there, and I went to high school with her too. And she would she was like on my case the entire time, saying, "Oh, why you buying toys? You too old for that." Blah blah blah. Just finding any excuse to doggone talk, you know, just talk shit about what I like or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, you know, like back then, like I just let people just say whatever they want, because folks like to, if you speak your mind, and it's like this now. I'm dealing with consequences now when folks try to talk to me any kind of way, and I get back on them. They want to go tell other people and then try to come fight me, whatever. Because that's exactly what would have happened if you would have defended yourself. Like if you argue with a girl, or if you about, you know, because she coming at you, but they only see you arguing at her. And then it goes the same thing with guys too. You try to defend yourself, and then it'd be like other guys trying to jump in on you or whatnot. And then
Right.
you find out that two other people don't like you just because. And then when you about to fight or whatnot, somebody like weaving off in the corner finna come and doggone um finna come knock you out or whatever while you arguing with the dude. It didn't happen to me. I saw it happen to other people, so
Right.
that's why I, you know, took a page out of their book on what not to do. I just let them just say what they want and walk away. Now, you know, being 34 years old, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if you're bigger than me or older than me or whatever. Like, you know, you're not finna just finna go around and say, "Oh, you whoop my ass." You go earn that ass whooping. Like,
Right. I feel you.
I'm I'm gonna get some hits in or whatever. But you know, that's my take on like being
Yeah.
bullied and watching anime and whatnot. But now it's I'm gonna say that part, but I'm gonna let you give your testimony on that. So you go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So, you know, I can't say that I was ever bullied for liking anime or, you know, having some of the, you know, interests that I had. But I vividly remember like in elementary school, not so much middle school or high school, but particularly elementary school, where it wasn't cool, quote unquote, to watch Power Rangers or to watch Dragon Ball Z or to like certain cartoons. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
strange because it's elementary school. So you would
Yeah.
think that that's the environment where a lot of kids, you know, would be just, you know, all, you know, out there with, again, you know, their cartoon interests, anime interests, and things like that. And I think I remember saying in the comments of your video that see, when I was watching Power Rangers and Dragon Ball Z and Rugrats, Hey Arnold and Doug, all
Yeah.
the other kids they were talking about watching 106 in Park and BET. Like
E-
like as
e-
I'm saying it, I remember like the moments where I would listen to these kids talk about BET all the time
yeah.
and rappers and
Yeah.
R&B. Mind
Yeah.
you, when I was a young kid, I didn't listen to rap. I didn't listen to R&B. The only artist that I ever listened to when I was a little kid was Michael Jackson and Will Smith. I didn't listen to anybody else. In fact, I didn't get into rap until the fifth grade.
Right.
Now, fortunately for me, I didn't. I won't say that I've ever saw other kids being bullied, but I know that, let's say, Dragon Ball Z or Power Rangers was not something that you were just shouting out, you know, to the classroom like, "Oh, this is what I like." You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I remember Brian McKnight saying that, back in, I guess, maybe the late 70s, early 80s, that it wasn't cool to be a singer. And that
Right.
was something that he kept to himself because singers got beat up or, shoved in lockers, stuff like that.
Really.
It was only acceptable to really be an athlete, but anything outside of that that was artsy or, maybe tech involved, that wasn't really accepted. So the same thing applies to, again, cartoons, anime, different things like that. I do remember fourth and fifth grade, particularly fourth grade, because I remember that's when, Beyblade became a thing. It was cool to have Beyblades back then. Cause I remember like, having like, I don't want to say gym class, like during lunches and stuff, everybody would have their, like, I don't know, did you used to watch Beyblade before back in the day? You had to. Come
Oh,
on
of
now.
course. I watched the,
Okay, yeah.
I
Yeah.
watched the OG
So
Blade, not the
right,
I
the
couldn't get
real
into the
one. Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't even get it to the new ones. Oh yeah,
Nah, the
quick side
acceptable
note.
ones is what happened?
Quick side note, you know they coming out with a live action Beyblade movie.
I ain't watching it. Okay, I ain't watching that. But I'll say the real Beyblade is Beyblade G Force, and
Hmm.
no, it's B Force and G Revolution.
Right.
Those are the real Beyblades in my opinion.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway,
You ain't
it
wrong.
was cool. It was like a fad at the time, for everybody to have their Beyblades. I remember my mom took me to Toys R Us. I got my Dragoon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was pretty much good from there. But after that, and maybe Yu-Gi-Oh to an extent. So fortunately for me, again, I was in a school where those things, were cool.
Hmm.
But then again, I think as, maybe fifth grade and sixth grade came around, that wasn't really as acceptable anymore. So I don't really remember, like that being a thing. And it's messed up. Where I
Yeah.
take issue is the same people that will say, will look at who would have looked at Naruto back in the day and said, "Oh, is that Goku?" You know what I'm saying? Those are the same people
Yeah.
now that are gonna ask you what animes you watching. You feel
Yeah.
me? Like they're the
Yeah.
same ones that are gonna be like, hey, "Yo, bro, yo, I'm watching Naruto, man. I'm watching Bleach. Oh, Attack on Titan. Oh, yeah, get out of here." Because I'm like, yo, and it's not. And I think I seen somebody say, "Oh, that's gatekeeping and all of that." Look, listen, if you were made to feel bad about your interests, but then those same types of people, or let's say the same people that was trying to, make you feel a way about what you like, and then they want to start piggybacking off of it too, because they see society is now more welcome to that. I'm not gonna fault somebody for feeling away. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna fault
Right.
somebody for feeling some type of way about that because I did
Right.
see a TikTok maybe sometime a while ago, or maybe it was either on TikTok or Twitter, one or the other.
Hmm. But yeah, it was funny you should say that about the piggyback on what you said about everybody worried about Warren System Park or whatnot. There was a time where when I was in high school, middle school and high school, folks was more worried about who was gonna win the Flavor of Love competition and whatnot.
Facts.
And I can't talk to nobody about nothing what happened on last night's episode of Smallville or what happened on Dragon Ball GT and whatnot. And I'm just
Mm.
alone, outside your friend, and I was never, and it was like a really bad look because I was never in class with the people that that talks about stuff that I like, and
That's
it and
usually
it
how it. That's usually how it is.
and it
That's
was never
that's how
straight
it
ahead.
is.
Yeah, and they will always put me, and back then they had assigned seats, and they'll always put me into that one person that could be in the class with you. They be all the way on the other side of the classroom while you sitting in between
Yeah.
two other people that not into it at all, and
Mm.
then want to talk to you and condescend, not condescend, but like,
Yeah.
uh
Yeah. Yeah. Nah,
talk
facts. Just
talk
not a
down.
overall positive energy.
Yeah. And then like and it don't be really positive. Like, and then another thing that I take from it, as far as like people who like anime and the people who don't back then, is that people think you know, slow or something like that, if you get what I'm saying. And
Nah, I'll say this. I'll say getting into really the middle school, seventh, eighth grade and onward. I'll say The reason why people say that is because now, and you tell me if you've seen this before. Like, there's a difference between, let's say, having certain interests, but
Uh-huh.
then letting those interests kind of dictate your behaviors. So, have you
Uh
ever in your life? All right, let me ask you something. Have you ever in your life ran through your school hallway like Naruto? And
no.
you know how Naruto and like Shinobi they run. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Have
yeah.
you ever done that before in your life?
No, I never. I didn't
But
even get into Naruto until like 2007.
right, but see, the reason why people think certain people are slow is because those are the kids that will just, and trust me, I've seen it before. Like, I've seen like certain kids like that I went to high school with run through the halls like Naruto characters.
Right.
Like, I'm talking about this dude, like this white kid. He like tightened like his book, like how you could tighten the straps on a book bag all the way so it's tight on your back.
Uh-huh.
I've seen the bell ring, dude tighten the straps on his book bag all the way and literally ran like skull like head first, arms back, just like a Naruto character, like winding himself up to run in a direction to the next class.
And it's funny because now that
Because you could be cool and then have those interests at the same time. And I feel like
yeah,
that's why I was never bullied for it, because you know what I'm saying? Like, people know, and
yeah.
mind you, I've always been unapologetically myself
Hmm.
pretty much my whole entire life. Now, there were times where I kind of bought into, what I thought other people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I bought into other people's perceptions of me and tried to kind of, and you go through that in life where you wear different shoes until you settle into who you are. But for the
Right.
most part, I never felt like I never allowed anybody to make me feel bad about what I like. Like, honestly, remember how I said, during the quick take that I did on my channel that you did with me. Remember how I
Uh-huh.
was telling you about my father not being a good role model.
Right.
See, I remember this like it was yesterday. We went to My dad took me to a gaming store, like video game store, to buy a game. Now, this is before GameStop even existed. Like, you remember those indie game stores that you could just go, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't Target, it wasn't Best Buy, it wasn't GameStop, like independent game stores. So
Yeah.
we went there, and I remember, I don't know if I must have grabbed like maybe, I don't know. Usually I had all the Sonic games, but I grabbed something that was along the lines of maybe Sonic the Hedgehog. Maybe I don't remember what game it was. And I remember my father saying, "Why are you playing those games? You need to play this." And then he was like grabbing like an NBA Live, like game, or some like game with guns. I'm like, "Nah, I'm trying to play this." So
Oh yeah,
I
we
even
definitely
had
with
that type of
NBA.
that type of response from my own dad,
Yeah,
telling a little kid, you shouldn't like games for kids, and you should want to play games with guns and basketball.
because he wanted to play it.
Not even. It's
Oh,
just because like think about it. When you think about and I'm not. I mean, we're both black, so I can say this. Like, the run on the mill black dude, and you know who I'm talking about, where you only ever hear them talking about playing 2K. They don't play any other video games.
yeah.
All they play is 2K. So you could sit there and say, oh, they don't know what Harvest Moon is. They don't know what Animal Crossing is. They never play Super Smash Bros. They don't play Pokemon. Like, they don't play any of the real games, that me and
Mhm.
you had played growing up. But all they do is that. My dad is along those
Yeah.
lines, where if he had to
Two.
play a video
Yeah.
game, it probably would be, NBA 2K. And mind you, I never got into that.
You
Ever.
know
I've
my.
had so many guys try to be like, yo, bro, yo, you need to get 2K. And I'm like, no, no. You know what I'm saying? So there's always,
Yeah.
people kind of going, walking the path of the least resistance and where everybody else is going. So growing up, you and I could have easily walked in that path if we wanted, a social pat on the back, but we went the other way because that's just who we really are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those are the interests that we have. And part of those interests is what made us who we are. So when you look at us and you look at these people, I mean, look at where they're at, or look at who they are. So, you know what I'm saying? It checks out.
That's why I don't like. That's why I remind folks on Facebook every day. I say it every day on Facebook, man. Every time they talk about a new 2K, I'm like, man, fuck 2K. I hate 2K because with my ex's family, like they that's the only time they really talk to me is when if I'm bringing my Xbox over or whatnot,
so they can play 2K. Yeah,
it's
basic.
2K.
Yeah, basic.
Yeah,
Run on the mill.
yeah,
People like that don't have any dimensions to them at all. People like that are literally just two-dimensional people. All you play is 2K. You're just doing what everybody else is doing. That's
yeah.
drone.
Like
That's
I
like a
don't,
duplicate. These are
I
like
don't.
those types of people are like robots. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
I don't
a
play.
dime a dozen.
I will never buy. Now, if my son, grows up, and he wants to play wants to play 2K or whatnot, then
Or
okay,
Madden.
yeah, Matter, I'll get it for him. But me myself, I will never buy
Bro,
a sport because like
trash.
and then my dad made me hate sports because that's all
Same.
we dog. That's because when my mom be at work, that's all we watched. That's all we watched. NBA. I remember
Sports.
the NBA Finals back in 1996. It was the Utah Jazz versus Chicago Bulls. They were always at the finals, and I was like, man, when we gonna watch some? When we gonna watch something else? And then like by the time we get the Cartoon Network, they playing the black and white stuff. You turn on Disney Channel, doggone, they playing the black and white stuff. Like I don't want to watch no black and white. I tried to watch the black and white Zorro TV show on Disney, but I was like, nah, man, no. I had to
Yeah.
wait until 6 in the morning to damn watch
Yeah.
to watch TV or whatnot. But then
Yeah, I was like 2 years old when all that was going on.
my father he like and then you know he did do something right though when he turned on the comedy and we was watching Martin and Jamie Foxx show and Sanford and so whatnot. I was that's I was watching that too, and
Mm-hmm.
I got like a lot of chuckles and
Mm-hmm.
laughing. You've seen like
Jamie
certain
Foxx show is
scenes.
better than Martin, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what my sister said. Like, but
She
I
just has
don't.
good taste. She has good taste
Yeah,
in humor because
yeah,
Martin is funny too,
yeah,
but not every episode of Martin is like hilarious. Like Martin is ratchet humor, whereas the Jamie Foxx show, and I talked about this with a guy that I did on a podcast episode with on my channel, where
uh-huh.
he was basically trying to insinuate that Martin is like the best black sitcom ever, and I'm like, no, it's not. Now, I mean, obviously that's really it largely boils down to opinion, but that's not a fact. It's not. If you really, if pound for pound, Martin could be top five, but Martin is not top three. Martin is not number one. For on the topic of Martin and sitcoms and stuff.
A lot of folks sleeping on the Wayans brothers too. Like,
Martin, yeah, but Wayne's Brothers to me is not. Wayne's Brothers is not top five. I'm sorry.
but but
Wayne's
but
Brothers is
but
okay. It's cool.
they had their moments when I be rolling on the floor crying. Like they had their moments, and Jamie Foxx too. Like especially when he be dressing up at those other characters, and when he be
The Jamie Foxx show is I can watch episodes that I've seen 1,000 times, and
yeah.
every single time I watch them, I get a laugh as if it's the first time I've watched it. I can never get tired of Jamie Foxx show episodes. Here's my top three. While we're on that, we'll get back to the bullying and stuff, but
Yeah.
Family Matters. Now, in no, I can't really rank them. I'm giving my top three. Family Matters,
Mm-hmm.
The Jamie Foxx Show,
Uh-huh.
and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fresh
Those three
Prince.
shows, I can watch all the episodes as if it's the first, because I never get tired of it. I can easily get tired of Martin. I could easily get tired I could see myself getting tired of Martin. If I go through the seasons of Martin, I'm only gonna cherry pick. But I'm not gonna let the show play as if all of these episodes are gonna appeal to me, because that's not true at all.
Yeah, my top three are Martin, Jamie Foxx show, and the Wayans brothers.
Wayne's Brothers.
N- yeah, no in a particular order. But
They have Wayne's Brothers has a great intro. The
yeah.
season one intro, and I think the season three or the season four intro is really good, because I remember when I first started my YouTube channel and I was doing podcast episodes, I was actually using the Wayne's Brothers intro for the intro to my podcast at first. So
Hey, you won't get hit or not, you won't get no copyright hit for that, I guarantee you.
nah, yeah,
And
nah. But but yeah,
but yeah, like I said, as far as like, watch, playing 2K and whatnot, I personally would play 2K like, back in the day because that's what everybody else wanted to play. I had all these other games just wait in the doggone play. But all everybody wants to do is play 2K. And
but
then
you got to think about it though. Like, there's always a sense of people are more comfortable with people who conform to their interests. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's rare that you find people that are just comfortable with being the only person in the room with that particular interest or that particular opinion. Um, and
Oh
that's what
yeah,
you
and Mortal
that's what you grew
Kombat,
up with, and that's what I grew up with. You know.
and also Mortal Kombat. They'll play that too. They'll play that all day. Mortal Kombat.
Nah, well, yeah, that I love the movies. I mean, the movies are really a thing for me that people I don't say that people talked about. I mean, I grew up loving Mortal Kombat, particularly Annihilation because that was the first one that I watched, and then I saw the first one after the fact. But I grew up liking Mortal Kombat, so I
You know,
remember I
you
remember
know,
what was the Mortal Kombat game that came out in the early thousands if that's the case. But I remember everybody
it
talking
was
about like
it
Mortal
was
Kombat Deception or some shit.
it
Like
was Deadly Alliance and Deception and
yeah,
Armageddon.
I remember everybody talking about that for a very long time. I never had that game, but I remember
Yeah,
people talking about
I
it.
did.
So.
I did. I managed to beat it all. Like the actual story was the actual conquest of this new character or new character at the time, Shinjinko. Um he basically learned all like basically everybody's moveset or whatnot. Basically he had a chameleon power of like he learn it, if he learns it, it's with him forever,
Uh,
basically. Yeah. Um yeah, it was back in the early 2000s, it was Mortal Kombat Deception. I mean Daily
mhm.
Alliance Deception. And then I did believe later on it was Armageddon. Or it was
Oh,
later
okay.
on, it was Armageddon, then it was the tie-in game to Mortal Kombat 2 or
Mm.
3. It was Shaolin Monks with Liu Kang and Kung Lao.
Right.
And that was a pretty good game.
Well, for people who are listening, don't allow people to tell you what you should and shouldn't like. Have your like champion your interests unapologetically because again, it's like you have to be authentically yourself, and life is a lot much more better when you accept you for who you are, what you like and what you don't like. And if people don't like you in the process, I mean, I don't want to curse on your channel, but screw them.
Yeah. Like go yeah,
Because me,
cause
I will say, like, it was really in 2011 was when I really kind of found my swag, my own personal swag, and I was just unapologetically myself all the time. Like I tell you, like I used to hang out with like, these dudes and stuff. And then, we just be, doing our thing, going places, whatever. And I remember I just be like breaking out into song and dance at any given moment. I'm talking about I throw my headphones on and I'm just dancing to beat it and stuff. They're like, yo, this guy's over here dancing. But yo, it's because I'm unapologetically myself. So if I like Kingdom Hearts, I like Kingdom Hearts. If I like Power Rangers, I like Power Rangers. If I like Michael Jackson, I like Michael Jackson. If you've ever seen Love Don't Cost a Thing, and I feel like, have you ever seen that movie with Nick Cannon?
of course.
Okay, all right. So I liken, Alvin to really me, like my own personal development from seventh grade to when I was a senior in high school. And if you notice, he was kind of I don't want to say ashamed of himself, but he was in his shell, and he came out of his shell, but the way that he came out was what he thought other people wanted him, to be. But if you notice at the very end of the movie, he was cooler at the end of the movie than he was in the middle of the movie when he was fronting.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So for
Cause
people who are
like
listening, people will
and,
accept you when you are just authentically yourself at all times. So
and it was funny.
even if let's say in a group of 5, 6 people, if they all like 2K, but you like this other game and you're not apologizing for it, they're gonna rock with it. That's why I feel like I never really had like people trying to clown me for those particular things because you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just me. God damn
Yeah,
it.
it was funny like at the end of the movie, like, and most of these things are a thing now as far as like he said I like a mocha latte with a little foam in it. And
With the little
then
foam on the top.
yeah, he was like, oh, and I like Michael Jackson's Bad
Jackson's
album.
Bad album. Yeah, he's
And
like,
then
yo, this is
but
me, and I ain't afraid to admit it. That's what he
and
said.
then like that was the thing that like that kind of like confused me because who doesn't like Michael Jackson? Who making fun of people for liking Michael Jackson?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You've seen me post videos, for as long as we've known each other from 2020 to
Yeah.
now. You could tell how big of a Michael Jackson fan I am.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I've never been bullied for liking Michael Jackson, but I've run into, even since I was a little kid, I run into my fair share of people who did not like Michael Jackson. I'm talking about, I was 5 years old, and I remember being at my aunt's house for a party, and they were playing music, and I remember, like, I don't know, some older guy, I don't even know who he was. He was like, "Oh, what music do you want to play?" And I said, "Oh, play Michael Jackson." And I think he might have played Beat It, or no, I think he might have played Thriller or something. And then I remember what, like, one of the other kids was like, "Oh, turn that off," or somebody was like, "Oh, no, turn that off, turn that off." So you'd be surprised at, like, what people will try to, like, what people will knock you for. You know what I'm saying? Like, even, let's say, Michael Jackson, though, people will knock
Yeah.
you for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Like folks will folks is like
Oh, but
not
let me
get
throw this out there. This is very
yeah.
important. This is very
Yeah.
important for everybody listening to this. This is a gem right here. People are going to knock you for your interests that they see that you like, because they're afraid to show people what they really like. Facts.
Mm.
That is a fact. You're only going to get bullied by people that don't like you because they don't have the courage to be public with their own interests too. That is the facts. That is because that's where it comes from. That's psychology right there.
Yeah.
Because if you can do something that I can't, and then I feel like it's not in me to do what you're gonna do, it's either two things. I'm either gonna like you or I'm gonna hate. And most
Yeah.
people, it just stems from envy and jealousy. Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of these kids that we both talked about growing up, that was talking about BET and Flavor of Love and all of that, hey, they could have been watching Power Rangers too.
Yeah.
Because one dude that, like, I was cool with him, but let's say me right now, we weren't really friends. It was just like we went to school together, so we were mutually cool, whatever. This dude, would be the same one to try to clown somebody else, not me, but let's say somebody else for being geeky or nerdy, having certain interests. But what's funny, turns out this dude was a big Naruto fan. So when I would be in the library reading Naruto mangas and stuff like that, this dude would come up and be like, "Oh, you reading Naruto? Oh, I read that chapter 2 today." And I was like, "You? What?
You
You reading what?" So this is what I'm saying. But that's where it comes from. So these same people are closet fans too.
Yeah.
They just don't have
Yeah.
the heart to actually be out there with it. So that's what I really want people to know. It's like, when I talk about these things, I want to talk about it in a sense that, like, people can, like, take something away from it. So it could just be, out of 10 views, it could be that one kid that's in middle school that's struggling with this. But then once he knows what it really is, then it's going to help him navigate and maneuver through these situations a lot easier. Because somebody walks up to him saying, "Oh yeah, you like this, huh? Oh yeah, you need to be playing 2K or whatever the hell dudes like these days." He could just be like, "Yo, I know what you really are. I know what's going on in your mind behind the scenes, so I'm not even worried about all of that." Facts. So it's either you're gonna accept it or you're gonna go the other way. But whatever it is that you say about me, it's not gonna influence me whatsoever. So you wasting your breath.
Yeah. I
People
think
like that, that mentality, people will rock with you. Trust me. Because once I got into it with myself and I had that love don't cost a thing moment at the very end of the movie,
yeah.
people rock with you at that point.
Yeah. I think it's the fact, it's more of also with people who don't like to play complex games, like, that takes, a lot of time to beat or whatever, a game with a story and
You said
whatnot.
they don't like it?
There's a lot of people that don't like it,
No, you
especially.
know why? Because they can't. They wish they could, but they can't. Because if they could, they would, but they can't do it. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, yo, you don't think, like, I'm trying to think of a game like these 2K players, like, they couldn't play freaking, ultimate the Marvel Spider-Man on ultimate difficulty. They couldn't play Kingdom Hearts on proud mode. They can't fathom how to create a party of 6 Pokemon and actually win. They couldn't do it. You can't do it. You're jealous. That's what I'm saying. It's jealousy. It's like, as we're talking about this, I'm really getting into, like, the perspective of that, and that's all it is.
And
That's like,
these
let's
were the
say I'm an
same ones
actor.
that played that these were the same ones that actually went out their way and played Pokemon Go. I remember them same people that
Ew, yeah, that's not a real
that
Pokemon. That's not a real
yeah.
Pokemon game. Yeah,
They was like,
yeah.
yeah,
People used to come
like,
up to
yeah,
me
I
all the
got
time,
Pokemon.
like, "Yo, you play Pokemon Go?" And I'm like, "What is this?" Like, no. Oh yeah, I'm
I,
gonna go to the gas station because I'm trying to find a Turtwig or some shit. Get out of here. No.
like, nah,
Yeah, like, that's not real.
get the games, get the games on Nintendo and whatnot, and also like
Facts. Handhelds.
and be stuck in them damn dark ass caves until you find your way out and fighting trainers and other doggone Pokemon that you want to damn run away from to get to the next city to get to the next Pokemon badge. Like nobody know they didn't know like like you said they want to know the struggle of like being excited and playing those kind of games, those more complex games, but they can't due
They
to
can't.
how
They
other
can't.
people are going to see them in the end.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, so you don't have don't worry about people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a
Yeah,
quote that it was like people that have bad things to say about you, they're
yeah,
either doing two things. They're either sitting down or standing still. So you ain't gotta worry about them because they ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like even people I use Dragon Ball Z as an example, right? It was funny. I got the Brody movie playing in the background.
uh-huh,
How there's so many guys that I've met, like throughout the way that will always be like, oh, I could beat you in Super Smash Brothers or some shit like that, right? And then
yeah,
in comparison to me, they're like Krillins. They're like Krillins, Yamchas, Chaozus, Tiens, and I'm Goku. You know what I'm saying? I'm like SSJ2 Goku, Super Saiyan 2, 3 Goku. And then they can't beat me. So it's always a difference. And they'd be mad because not mad at me, but I'm saying like just in the grand scheme of things, they're just envious because people are always going to be mad at somebody else for what they feel like they can't do. Like I had somebody tell me, like, "Oh, your YouTube channel is a struggle channel," some shit like that, right? Like somebody said that like last week, and I'm like, "Well, can you do it? Can you do it? You can't. You can't. That's why you're talking because you couldn't do it yourself. So what makes you feel better is to try to tear me down when it ain't gonna work."
yeah. I
Well, people
also
like that don't
remember
even worry about it for listeners out there.
what you told me about what your father said about don't play those kind of games, get this or whatnot. I remember
Mm-hmm.
my dad came over and this was like maybe a couple months ago, I believe. And he wanted to come see my daughter, and I was on the game playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and whatnot. And by the way, I still have not beat the game yet. But
I
anyway,
well, here's the thing. You're sparing yourself a lot of grief because that was probably the worst ending I've ever experienced in video game history. It was so bad to the point where I didn't want to do any of the post game missions,
uh-huh.
things that you can do because I did not like the way the game ended. I'm not gonna spoil it, but
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
like you might be
And
sparing yourself a lot of grief.
he was like, son, what game you playing? I was like, Red Dead Redemption. I'm not turning on 2K. That's what I told him that straight up. I was like, I'm not turning on 2K or don't Madden. If you want that, get your own. Like
Get your own, yeah.
I told my dad, I told my pop straight up. I was like, If you
Yeah,
want to play
well,
some more,
what's funny? It's like, well, would he have been saying anything if you were playing Grand Theft Auto or something like that? Like,
no,
because really,
no.
Red Dead Redemption is just Grand Theft Auto, like a Western version of Grand Theft Auto. It's the same thing. So I
Yeah,
bet
but
you, if when he walked in and then you headshot at somebody, you know what I'm saying, with a
yeah.
sawed-off shotgun, would he have said anything? It's like you probably were just like riding around or something, and then he probably walked in like, "Yo, look at this dude riding horses in a video game," but not really knowing what it is. See, most people don't just judge
I
because
don't
it's
think.
easy to judge something by its cover, but not actually knowing what the game is. Like you don't even know.
And you know what? To make it worse, like I don't think and I love my pop and everything, but I know for a fact he wouldn't say nothing if I was playing the Saints Row, the new Saints Row that came out, and that game was
Later for that.
underwhelming. Like I beat that game in
Yeah,
like
I heard those games are not even good. Like from
I
my
beat that
understanding, the video game cover is better
uh-huh.
than the actual game.
Yeah, I beat that game in like 3 days. Plus, minus the glitches that I had to go through and whatnot. I had to reinstall the game. I had to delete the game and reinstall it each time to, work out the glitches and whatnot. But I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you that they fixed it. They fixed it with the patches and whatnot. But yeah,
Right.
my message to everybody out there is like, if you like something, you know, like it.
Like it.
It don't matter. It don't matter what everybody else say. If you want to go out here and y'all go and LARP, I mean I would love to like go see a LARPing or go, to participate in a LARPing. I probably wouldn't know how to do it. I probably would like, choke or break character or
Mhm.
whatever. But if you want to go out there and LARP, hey, that's your thing. If you feel like you want to go out here and be a basketball star, go ahead. If you want to be hot damn I rock, I don't know if you're familiar with that channel.
Oh hell
Uh,
yeah, I know him.
Yeah, if he said, I don't care if you want to be a professional Ninja Turtle, be that shit.
Be that, but be it because it's within you because you want to be that, not because that's what somebody else wants you to do.
Yeah, exactly. And uh, I don't want to spend too much time on the like the bullying part, but you know, I want to go into next with the toxic part of the community, like the gatekeeping or whatnot, like the things that I seen on there, especially on TikTok or whatever, because folks get on TikTok, they get a following, and they think they the anime gods and whatnot, and I blocked a lot of people on there because of that. Like, and then and then there's the power scaling community, and it's and then there's the Superman versus Goku debate. It's been going around for like over what 10 years now, I believe. And even though it's been proven, so to say, with Death Battle or whatnot, the channel, that Superman will win. Everybody just going out of their way, just making up stuff about Goku. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Goku and everything. He was like my gateway anime, watching Dragon Ball Z and whatnot. But like,
Mm-hmm.
he's not. If Goku and Superman were in a fight, Goku will lose.
Why do you say that?
Huh? Why I say that is because
Oh,
Goku,
because Goku has a limit. Superman doesn't.
yeah, Goku can go past his limits. Superman doesn't have any. So
Right, right.
yeah, Superman doesn't have it. And then folks like, oh, he could they say some folks on here are ignorant, say some super crap like, oh, um Superman, I mean not Superman, Goku can instant transmission Superman to a planet with kryptonite in it. And I was like, no, that's the dumbest crap I ever heard. Like, if there's a planet full of kryptonite, the sun that's orbiting in that planet, or giving the planets the nutrients or whatnot, or
Mm-hmm.
giving the light or whatever. I'm not a scientist, but um, different different suns have different effects on kryptonian minerals. So it can either have no effect on him, or it can power him indefinitely. So you don't know what kind of effects the different suns can have on these kryptonian minerals. So Goku can be doggone setting himself up for a trap, or
Well, I'll say this: if that fight were to actually happen, I'm rooting for Goku. Even if he were to lose, I'm
uh
still
huh.
gonna root for Goku because growing up, I never even now I never thought much of Superman. To be honest with you, he's not like my favorite superhero at all. Like there's nothing about Superman to me that is appealing. But like this, as trash as Batman versus Superman was, I mean, Batman figured out a way to beat Superman, if I'm not mistaken, because that movie was so garbage. I only seen it once, but from what I remember, Batman won, right
I
or wrong.
seen I seen both of them. I seen both of the theatrical and the ultimate edition. I mean, I hate to say it, but it was pretty good to me. It had a lot of
What,
exposition.
Batman versus Superman?
Yeah, it was good to me, but it wasn't like, it had a lot of exposition in it.
Well,
But
for what it could have been, I don't think it measured up to people's expectations. And I remember leaving the movie not like I don't like Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't enjoy his Batman at all. And I'm
and
actually
and
happy
the
that what?
and the story that they went with, like, they did it too soon. Like, they took a lot of Superman and Justice League stories and piled it into a movie that's just about Batman and Superman. And that, I think that's what kind
Yeah,
of
because it was
caused
a
it too.
misunderstanding with those two, pretty much.
Yeah, it was just a small misunderstanding that could have just been talked out, but Zack
Right.
Snyder had to draw out the drama.
No,
And
like Godzilla versus Kong was a way better movie than Batman versus Superman. If we're talking about a crossover film that's pitting two titular characters against one another.
did you watch the 4 hour Justice League cut, the Snyder cut?
I couldn't honestly. It didn't hold my attention, and I've tried multiple times. Like, let's say for instance, I've tried to watch the first Sonic the Hedgehog multiple times, and then this is prior to Sonic the Hedgehog 2 coming out, which I didn't enjoy. And it's like I turn the movie on, I start watching it, I end up looking at my phone, I look back up, the credits are rolling, I just wasn't feeling it. I think the problem with that film is just like DC films, I feel like they take themselves too serious. And
Yeah,
you can have an element of, danger and stakes, involved, but it shouldn't be a point where like it's just dull. Like it's dull. And then when you have some sort of comedic relief, it's not funny. And I think a lot of that rested on what Aquaman to make people laugh. Like, and he's not funny. Like,
yeah,
I didn't enjoy it at all. Like, I liked the first Wonder Woman. I remember seeing that with with an ex girlfriend of mine. Wonder Woman 1984. The only reason why I liked that movie was because of the villain. And I think the idea of the Dreamstone, I think that's what it was called, right?
yeah. Was it the Dreamstone? Yeah, it was the Dreamstone to make any wish come true.
Right. So it was just the idea of the Dreamstone. It had nothing to do with the villain. It had nothing to do with Gal Gadot. I just don't really enjoy those films at all. Again, because they take themselves too seriously, and the seriousness like offsets just the tone. So think about it. That's exactly why they brought James Gunn in there to pretty much overhaul that whole entire thing. In fact, and I don't care if people disagree or not, I enjoyed freaking Black Adam more than I enjoyed Justice League. I'm just saying. Why? Because Justice League was like a healthy balance. It was fun to watch. Like, yeah, like it might not have been the best superhero film, but I still had fun watching it. I can't say the same about Justice League. It's not fun. Like I could throw on Infinity War. I'm having fun watching the film. Endgame, I have fun watching. As serious as Endgame was, it's still fun to watch.
Yeah,
Who
the
can say
stakes
they
were
have fun watching the Joker film? What's
the,
fun about that movie?
the stakes were pretty high
Where in what movie?
in Endgame, and also it was like I feel you on that. Like I felt the sense of excitement, when I bought the
Yes.
tickets, when I got in the Uber, when I got to the theater, when I bought the popcorn, when I sat down in the seat. And I almost let my
Yeah. Like, but
because I had two phones at the time, and I almost let that one phone go. I almost let that one phone go because I wanted to see the movie, but my wife, which is my girlfriend at the time, she told me, go and get your phone or whatnot. I'll tell you what happens when you come back. I was like, okay. And once we got the movie, that's all we talked about for the rest of the night was Endgame. And then we had
yeah, but it's like, can you say the same about DC films? No. Like, if we're really being honest, like, yeah, like I think the first Aquaman it wasn't horrible, but if I compared it to let's say Black Panther or Thor Ragnarok, it does not compare. Like it's just the DC universe does not have as much going for itself, and I hope moving forward, I guess with James Gunn, things are going to be different, which I'm pretty sure it is because again, he's a great director, and I'm not familiar with his whole body of work. But from what I've seen in Guardians of the Galaxy, I didn't even know Guardians of the Galaxy was a real thing until
yeah,
the
yeah,
second
yeah,
one
me too.
because I used to work at a movie theaters, and I remember that was when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 came out, and I had no interest in seeing that film at all, but we had to do like theater checks. So it's like the movie starts, and you had to used to go in the theater, walk up the stairs, walk down, go across, go up the other flight of stairs, and go down, and then leave the theater. So having to do theater checks all day, I was seeing more and more of the film. And it's actually a
Right.
really good movie. So I hope that again that tone element or his contribution to those films will translate over to this complete total overhaul of the DC
As
universe.
and speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe the recent video game that came out is far superior to their MCU counterparts because there's more like, you know, uh,
Avengers sucked, and I didn't even play it to know it sucked. It was trash. It was garbage.
I played the main thing I hate about that game, the Avengers game, was the microtransactions. Because if I go back and play it and try to play the Black Panther expansion, there's still glitches.
Yeah, but they
And
weren't. Square Enix was not supposed to make that game. They gave that game to the wrong game developer. Because once I heard, oh, Square Enix is gonna do Marvel's Avengers, I was like, why? They should have gotten Insomniac to do that. Because have you played Marvel Spider-Man?
yeah, and Miles Morales.
Right. That. Oh yeah. I don't even know. I'm asking you because that's how we met in the first place. That
Yeah,
game pretty much has to be one of the best superhero games I played since the Arkham series. And it didn't really get much better than, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. It doesn't get much better than that. And Marvel Spider-Man is on par with that, and that's only one game. So why not
I go
give
back
that
and
game
play
to
that.
them?
I go back and play that game like every couple months, to be
What,
honest.
Spider-Man?
Yeah,
It's
I
funny.
go.
My PS4 it doesn't read disc anymore. So if I wanted to play the first Spider-Man, I would have to like rebuy it online. But I have a digital version of Miles Morales, and I've literally played that game into the ground. So it's like
Yeah.
if I play it now, because I've beaten the game on all difficulties, but then I've replayed the game wearing different costumes. So because
Oh,
I wanted to see certain scenes in certain costumes. So that
right.
means I played the game. I've beaten the game so many times over. So again, I just wouldn't have any personal enjoyment playing it now.
I remember someone gave me a comment on one of my video game reviews. It was like, "Are you going to show the actual gameplay?" And from then on, I took more time to make my video game reviews and actually show the
Mm-hmm.
gameplay in
Mm-hmm.
like different outfits and whatnot, especially with Miles Morales and I'm working on the Guardians of the Galaxy video game one right now, and like that was like nice feedback that I got from somebody because that kind of
Mm-hmm.
pushed me to put more effort into my video game or any video for that matter. But
Yeah.
I didn't mean for us to go off track like that. But the toxic anime community. Um, I've seen a lot on TikTok, especially on TikTok, and it started on Facebook. Then it went to forever on TikTok, and then you got these folks on here that are acting like they gods or connoisseurs or whatnot, since they
Mm-hmm.
got a following and whatnot. And it got to the point where, guys were like gatekeeping girls who were actually into anime. And they may be right, there are some fake people out there that's into anime because, but um and I got this testimony from my wife. She said that before she met me, she talked to a lot of guys, and she said she was into anime and whatnot, and they was like giving her quizzes and whatnot, and she was like,
I'll be
when I
doing that too. I'm not even gonna lie.
oh damn,
I'll be doing that. I'm not gonna lie, yo. Some chick tries to act like she had, and girls do that. Girls, because they like me, they'll pretend to like my interests and or
oh
to share my interests. So I'll be like, all right, so if you about that life, okay, so then I quiz them.
yeah, yeah, but my wife, she is about that. Like, she watches Sailor Moon, she collects Sailor Moon merchandise. She even watches the Inuyasha sequel. I'm not even going to begin
Okay.
to try to pronounce what's it called, but
Hey.
yeah. But yeah, there'll be guys on there be like quizzing the girls and then quizzing her, and she'd be like, she'll block them. But when I was like, in my opinion, I was like, and you should, when a girl be like, oh, I like anime and whatnot, and I watch Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Who's your favorite character? And that'll be it. I don't be like, so what was this person wearing in this episode at time code 23 minutes
Some,
into the
but here's the
yeah.
thing. Sometimes you have to do that because I'll give you an example, right? Now, I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. I got a lot of
Right.
people come up to me be like, yeah, I love Michael Jackson. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, no, you like Michael Jackson's music, but don't come up to me saying you love Michael Jackson or try to imply that you're actually a fan. But then if I ask you a simple, it's not even like the most complex question. I'm talking about a question that any Michael Jackson fan would actually know and you can't answer it. Then don't tell me you love Michael Jackson. You like Billie Jean. You like Thriller. You like Beat It. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't front
Yeah.
like you're something that you're not. So sometimes there's a way you can quiz somebody in a friendly way, but it's like I like, let's say if I said, oh, so if a girl said, oh, I like Dragon Ball Z too, and I said, okay, so who was the last person that Goku fought in the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super? If she can't answer that question, then you know, or she felt a way about the fact that I asked the question in the first place, then like stuff like that is just, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying
Why
anything
would you
about her in particular, but for me personally, that's a simple question. That's what I would say.
why would you ask me that? Why
Huh?
would you? They was like, why would you ask me something like that, or why would you?
Well, and I would say, well, you said you like Dragon Ball Z, right? So let's talk about Dragon Ball Z. If you like it, then you should be able to answer the fucking question. Sorry about cursing, but I'm just saying,
Oh,
you
it's all
know,
right. It's all right because I had asked a friend of mine, not to go off topic, but I asked a friend of mine on Messenger. I was like, so they really demonetizing folks, for cursing and whatnot. She was like, oh, if you cursing at the first 18 seconds, they're not gonna monetize your video. I was like,
that's
so
not true, and I'll
so
tell
what?
you why.
That's what she
It
told
boils
me.
down to the subject matter, because I
Oh,
have videos that I curse up a storm that they didn't demonetize, but then there's other videos that I didn't curse that they, so it because it'll be a situation where it's only YouTube Premium that I'll make money off of, but not, like off of ads and stuff like that. So it don't really be about cursing. It depends. I think it depends on how much you curse. I guess I don't know.
oh, okay. Well, okay. So I guess agree to disagree on that one. But
Yeah,
yeah.
but when you say toxic anime fans, like, but so
Mhm.
you mean like just quizzing, or you mean people gatekeeping, or
Yeah, there's like it's the quizzing, the gatekeeping, and also folks will literally um will get into altercations on TikTok live about like, and then they start like coming after, coming after you personally, trying to dox you, discredit you, try to,
well, people
right.
like, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on people's reasoning for doing so. Like, I don't know. I don't even like arguing with people, to be honest with you. Contrary
Yeah,
to
it's
what it might seem on my YouTube channel,
yeah,
but I'll give you one more example as far as quizzing is concerned. That's like us two, right? We both grew up watching Power Rangers. It's
right.
very apparent.
Mhm.
Now, let's say if some 2K playing looking dude were to walk up and be like, "Yo, man, yo, I love the Green Ranger, son. Yo, yeah." Are you not gonna like verify? Are you not gonna
Yeah.
verify and confirm his interest? Because I'm not gonna
No.
have some guy walk up to me and then try to say he's about, like, saying the same stuff that I'm about. And if he don't even, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna judge a book by his character. I mean, I'm gonna judge a book by its cover. But I mean, let's be real. If you don't even look the part, if you don't even strike me as the type of person that has that interest, yeah, I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
I
say,
mean,
why did Tommy lose his powers? Who was Tommy's second girlfriend? Things like
who,
that.
yeah, like who's it? Who's his son? They ain't. I don't think they even know that. I don't even think he know. I
Well,
don't even think they would know anything past him being the Green Ranger. To be
yeah, I
honest.
would be like, who was the king of the machine empire? Like stuff like that. Like these are the questions that I would just ask, and then they're like, well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would be like, get out of here. Just get out of
Yeah,
my face.
like yeah, like it's just like common questions like that. Like it's simple for Power Rangers fans like us to answer, or for the people who casually watch and they'll still know the King of the Machine Empire. But
Yeah,
for the
King
ones who,
Mondo. Yeah,
yeah, for the ones who don't know and say that they're actual fans, and then you ask that question, I was like, man,
and they don't know.
you know who I'm talking about, you know who it
Yeah, I would
is.
be like, get out of here. I would be like, yo, and this is what I say to you. I say, you've seen a couple of episodes of Power Rangers and you enjoyed it, but you're not a Power Rangers fan. You're not. You're not.
Now, if they said that they just seen the 2017 movie and they haven't seen a Power Ranger episode in over 20
Uh,
years, then you got to quiz them.
And I don't, but the thing is, I don't think that's toxic either. Like, because the thing is, I do believe there should be a certain level of gatekeeping for the people who genuinely like
No,
stuff,
no, 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 no. I
and
wasn't
people who
saying that
just
to.
pretend to like. No, I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying
Oh,
this in general. Like, I think
uh-huh.
with a lot of things, there should be a level of gatekeeping, because there's a difference between people who genuinely love something and people who just pretend to love something because they see that's what everybody else is doing. Because these
Right.
days, and people have been doing it back to even when I was a kid, everybody wants to be different by doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I personally, I don't appreciate that. So it's like, if you're gonna want to, come to me, try to have a conversation about whatever my real interests are, I'm gonna say, okay. Like, there was a guy that it was me, a former friend of mine, and pretty much two former friends. I don't really rock with any of these dudes, but we went to a party. We just went for a walk, back in 2020 and stuff like that. And me and one of them, we had like this debate. I think we were talking about movies or something, right? And then
Uh-huh.
this dude says, "Oh, I love Pulp Fiction. I said, oh, you love Pulp Fiction, right? Okay, so then recite Ezekiel 25:17. He couldn't do it. He could not do it. Have you ever seen Pulp Fiction before?
No, I haven't.
Ah, damn. All right, well, you're missing out. But
I am.
Samuel Jackson has, because I only like that movie primarily for Samuel Jackson. So I've seen the film, and there are reasons why I don't really watch the whole entire film, but I have it, and I only watch it for his parts. And Samuel Jackson's character has a speech that he says right before he kills somebody called Ezekiel 25:17. So if you're saying to me that you love the film, how do you love Pulp Fiction and you don't know Ezekiel 25:17?
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I
I
mean?
guess. I
If
guess
we're
you're
gonna talk
right.
about it, let's talk about it.
I guess you're right about the whole. There has to be a certain level of gatekeeping
Yes, there
if folks
does. There
if
does.
folks just want to like come up with a converse. Just want to walk up to you and just either have a conversation or they just want to like try to make fun or whatever. Because I had folks did that one time, try to ask me questions about Yu-Gi-Oh or Dragon Ball Z, but they really was trying to make fun of me. So I was like, you know what? Figure it out yourself.
Well, like I said, we debunked that already, so we already know
Yeah,
why people would even go out of the
yeah,
way to try to knock somebody for their own interest. So that
yeah,
those people are already debunked.
yeah. They are they debunk when they walk in the room. But yeah, yeah. I was just saying like I've seen a lot of that, of the stuff on there. Like it goes as far as like it gets like, to the point where folks are just like loud, cursing at each other back and forth, like making rumors
Mhm.
about each other, and then wishing people to die and all that other
Well, it's
mess.
not necessary because over
Yeah,
anime.
yeah, yeah,
See, see that, but then that's when you cross that fine line, and then that's
yeah,
when it becomes toxic because especially if you're dealing with somebody that like you don't even know personally, because
yeah,
like I'll say for instance, I just made a video about like Bobby Brown, New Edition, that R&B group from back in the day.
yeah. I do.
So I just made a video essay on my channel that actually did really well. And long story short, there's toxicity within the New Edition quote unquote fan club fandom too.
Yeah.
And I've seen like there was a lady that she came on over was like, oh, I'm gonna report your video to Bobby Brown's lawyers. And I was
What?
like, yo, what the heck? And then like, but when in the midst of my response, I said, yo, I'm not even gonna take what you said personally because I don't know you like that. So how can it be personal if I don't even know you? So
And
I'm
then
not gonna. And I said to her, I said, "Yo, like we're both fans. Clearly, we're both fans of New Edition and Bobby Brown. So what's the necessity for a war of words and arguing between me and you? For what? We both like the same groups. Shouldn't that be the
on
basis for friendly interaction? But
right.
again, people who will allow a situation like that to devolve into the point where you're saying you think somebody should die over an anime, like
Yeah.
they have some growing to do. They got a lot of growing to do, and probably haven't lived that much of life to really understand that there's certain things that are not even really necessary.
And then it was like another um before TikTok, there was like two fandoms that were toxic too. And that was the Steven Universe fandom and the Rick and Morty fandom. Those groups are toxic because you got the Rick and Morty fans, they'll try to talk to you or curse you out like you're like they Rick all day, but in real life they're Jerry. I know that reference probably blew over your head because you say you're not a Rick and Morty fan,
Nope. Nah,
but
I have no idea.
they really they acting like they Rick, but they really Jerry in real life. And then you have a Steven Universe fandom because it's heavily sec LGBTQ in your windows or whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
folks will say, oh, so they said that the gyms are genderless and whatnot, but but they're talking like but they're appearing themselves to themselves like women and whatnot, women or girls or whatnot, and they're in relationships. So isn't that they're like, I remember I said that, like, aren't they women and whatnot? And somebody just went on a whole rant saying like, oh, they're genderless and whatnot, you're a homophobe, blah blah blah. Doggone,
Okay.
I'm a dox you. I remember one time they went in, they tried to
What is that? What is doxing mean again?
I think like discrediting. Let me look it up real quick because I heard that word a lot.
I thought that was like revealing somebody's IP address or something like
Search
some like people's
search
personal
or
information or something like
search
that.
for and publish private or identifying
Yeah,
information about a
yeah,
particular individual on the
yeah.
internet.
Like over a cartoon, and
Yeah,
and again, I'm not gonna tell people what they should and shouldn't like, but because they show what Rick and Morty on Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network and
Okay,
yeah,
right.
Hulu,
So
HBO Max.
okay, but let's stick to Cartoon Network because I'm making a point. See, I grew up watching real cartoons, bro. Like, and that's why it's hard for me to even like invest any of my attention into a show like Rick and Morty. Like, if you like it, that's fine. I haven't seen it, but just based off of the optics alone, I'm just like, again, like Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, Keenan and Kel, all that, Ed, Ed and Eddie, like the list goes on. Toonami, like the list goes on. So there's no comparison. Like I can't even imagine people like because the one time that I did see Rick and Morty, which this was probably like 2014, 15, or something like that, a few years ago. And I feel like the guy that I was chilling with, the only reason why he was even enjoying the damn show was because he was high. Cause it's like he was smoking and watching the show like, hey, yo, Rick and Morty, man, yo, it's such a great show, yo, bro, yo, you gotta start watching it, man. Yeah, yo. And I'm like, even if I'm under the influence, I still can't enjoy this show. So
No,
like I don't know, like people doing all of that. I mean, nah, I don't know, man. I
yeah,
don't know where society is going these days,
yeah.
but
It's like because what I was saying about the Steven Universe fandom, this woman, she went in my wife's inbox up here telling me, is this she went word for word saying, is this the guy you want around your children or whatnot? I was like, what? And then she was just like calling me all kind of names. She talked to me first, and then she copy and paste some of the messages that she sent me to my wife, saying that, is this who you want around your children or whatnot? And then she was like getting on the beat, talking about some big ass nigga, always, where my hug at, looking ass nigga. All this over doggone Steve Universe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just and it goes back to how it is on the anime community. It's like folks just like, revealing personal information and
Yeah,
talking
because these
about,
are kids. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, really, when you really look at, like, if you really took a magnifying glass and put it to certain, like, to some of these people who are doing or exhibiting this, types of behavior, they're probably still in their teens. You know what I mean? Like, when I was their age, I was playing RuneScape. I was minding my damn business. I was playing RuneScape. I was outside.
my
That's
my
what
brother
kids do these days.
my brother used to play that RuneScape.
Yeah, nah, but I'm just saying, like, people like that, like like I'll say this, like I remember I had a job and I used to work at Lowe's, and I remember people would tell me that, like, yo, man, people, there's a whole lot of drama in the store. People are always talking this, that, and the third, and I wouldn't know nothing about it because I stay out of it. So it's like when it comes to anime and Power Rangers and different interests that are like big parts on the internet. If you go looking for them, I don't get caught up in like the. I'm not going for the okey doke. I'm not
Right.
getting caught up in the nonsense. So it's like I wouldn't know nothing about it because I don't even engage in that. People talking about doxing, come on now, later for that.
Yeah, it was just like looking at that stuff for like, years. And I hate to admit that it was like, entertaining at first, but then it was like it was that showed up on my For You page or whatnot. Folks was just like stitching the video, giving their opinion, and folks up here making documentaries about it and whatnot, and folks up here giving their side of the story. And there was this girl on there. I don't know if you heard of her. Her name was Black Boma. She's a Dragon Ball fan and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And she got into a beef with a known TikTok creator named King Lion. He's a comic book TikToker and an author. He has his own comic book or manga and whatnot. It's called Flame. But anyway, um, she got into it with a lot of creators on TikTok to the point where folks is like threatening her. She was threatening folks too. Uh, it was like, basically, it was like how folks just like arguing and being like, if you was in the club and you stepped on their shoe or whatnot, they literally like just yelling in the camera and whatnot, telling them, "Oh, you don't know me," blah 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 blah, this that and third, and then um I had to end up blocking her because she was like too problematic. She was making too many doggone enemies because of her mouth. You know, I saw her side of the story and I saw their side of the story, and then I see how she was acting on her lives, and I was like, yeah, let me block her so I won't have to see her shit no more or whatever. But I haven't seen anything lately since I blocked her, and
Right.
like I haven't seen any other toxicity in the anime community since then. But I just thought, like, I just talked to you, well, bring you in and
Hmm.
dress up and pick your brain on it. But yeah, I was just like you said, we both agree on you there should be like a certain level of gatekeeping because, those people have already been debunked about being, real fans and are not. And then pretty much with the you know, all the doxing and the, calling people names and cursing people out and want to get really physical, which somebody die, you know, that needs to stop because of, it's just anime. Like
Right.
you're not making money off of the content that the actual author and writers and directors are making out of off of. You're really just giving them like free publicity or free exposure or whatever. So you're not really getting paid. You're getting paid for being toxic, but if you're monetized or whatnot, but you're not getting paid to produce this, or to talk about how much better this anime is better than that anime or whatever. And and me personally, I don't think a anime is like trash or whatnot. I don't like a particular anime is trash, and I don't like say, oh, you watch this anime, oh, that anime is trash or whatnot. If I think a certain anime is not that good, I'm gonna just keep it to myself, or unless I'm making a video on YouTube. But if folks gonna go out their way and say, oh, your favorite anime is trash or whatever, that's also part of the toxicity, and that needs to stop. Like
Hmm.
everybody loves anime. Everybody looks at a certain anime that makes them feel good about themselves. Or if they had like a shitty day or a good day, and they want to come
Hmm.
home and pop on anime and just like watch some
Right.
feel good TV or whatever. Like everybody has something that makes them feel good. Like why
Right.
should folks take that away from 'em just because it doesn't make you feel good? If you get what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So that's all. That's pretty much all what that is. And like I guess we've been over here for like an hour, 30 minutes or so. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. You got any closing arguments or closing thoughts?
Just what I always say. I just implore all listeners to think critically, about the things that happen, the things that you see, the things that you hear. Um, as you heard, the things that I've said are the result of critical thinking amidst conversation. And I encourage you to do so. And definitely check me out, MisterDjay MDJ. Me and Burst Jones, we've got a quick take about the passing of Jason David Frank, in addition to a variety of content on my channel. So definitely come check me out and let's talk.
That was good. That was good, man. I wouldn't have said it better myself. So that's all for today. As you can hear, my son is knocking at my door trying to cry because he missed his nap. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you all next time.
Peace.